and provide an excellent description of how past events fit together and give clues to our future. The Yuga cycles, as delineated by Sri Yukteswar, posit 4 distinct cycles of progression that take place over approximately 26,000 years, and parallel similar cycles described by the ancient Greeks. According to the teaching of this Vedic master, human consciousness cycle through the following phases, beginning with the Satya Yoga, the Golden Age to the Greeks, the Treta Yoga, the Silver Age to the Greeks, the Dwapara Yoga, the Bronze Age to the Greeks, and the Kali Yuga, the Greeks' Iron Age. Yugas repeat so that the length of time to complete an entire rotation takes approximately 26,000 years, from the beginning of the Satya Yuga through all of the other yogas and back to the Satya. The Satya Yoga, the Greeks' Golden Age again, is described as a paradise on earth. People lived like gods and had miraculous powers like levitation, the ability to fly, healing powers, and miraculous powers of creation. They didn't age or contract diseases. People lived in harmony with nature and one another, in complete abundance of everything. Some speculate that the people during the Satya Yuga may have been much larger, could communicate telepathically, and perhaps had no need to eat because they could derive all of their sustenance from the sun. Most cultures have legends describing such a time. Ours is referred to as Atlantis. The Göbekli Tepe, dating from 9500 BC, could have been a product of this time and age. This monumental structure was purposely covered up by its builders, perhaps in anticipation of the upcoming Treta Yoga and beyond. The Treta Yoga, the Silver Age, human knew himself to be an intricate part of the universal consciousness, interconnected with non-material with reality. Unlike in the Satya times, where man comprehended all, including the spirits beyond the physical world, during the Treta Yoga, man lost his direct comprehension. Without telepathy to communicate, the development of languages evolved from connecting vibrating frequencies to communicating through patterns into Sanskrit, which today is one of the most complete and advanced languages known. In the beginning of this era, humans considered civilization unnecessary and unattractive, since it's led to the physical exploitation of the planet for food and shelter. Toward the end, however, as mental abilities waned, man turned to widespread agriculture and the establishment of cities to meet growing physical needs. As we continued to devolve into the Dwapara period, mankind became acutely aware of the importance of energy. Still cognizant that energy was their underlying reality, the harnessing of power, however, became a necessary component for their survival. Magic through the priests carried real power. In construction, magic could have moved the pillars in place in sites such as Stonehenge. Magic as a tool disappeared during the upcoming Kali Yuga, and magicians resorted to illusions and tricks instead of true magic from an earlier age. During the Dwapara, the one sophisticated language degenerated into many, and just as had occurred at the end of the Treta era, at the end of the Dwapara, a narrowing of awareness occurred. Beginning at around 700 BC, mankind entered the Kali Yuga, or the Iron Age, the darkest and most dense of the epochs. From the glory of the Satya Yoga, mankind slipped into a very simple but difficult time. People labored long and hard to stay alive, Life expectancy was short, while disease and famine were commonplace. Ignorance seemed to become the goal, as storehouses of ancient wisdom were destroyed. People slipped from virtual gods in the Satya Yoga into becoming slaves or serfs. The practice of religion became the opposite of expansion-oriented practices, such as mantras, in previous times, and fell into dogmatic practices designed to limit human options and thwart real consciousness development. The deepest spell of the Kali Yuga occurred 500 AD, an epoch that's known even today as the Dark Ages. During this time, mechanical and scientific knowledge, such as it was lost and then crudely rediscovered. Since then, we've been slowly advancing to the end of the Kali era, which according to Sri Yukteswar ended 1700 AD. This demarcation of time led into the cusp era of the ascending Dwapara Yoga. Technically, we left the cusp and were fully in the Dwapara at the end of the 20th century. In my estimation, from 1900 to the present day could best be characterized as a period of struggle between regressive and progressive forces. Belief in this story or this sequence, the cycles within cycles, if you really believed it, it has a change effect on your whole life and your whole outlook. Because most of the architectural anomalies found seem to point to this being the case, I'm kind of more or less half adopted this myself, personally. Still, I'm open to any additions, any deletions. But anyway, what it's done, it's given me a more relaxed, accepting viewpoint on life. You know, whatever's going to come is part of a cycle, and little cycle within a bigger cycle. And also, I frame the events that happen to me thinking about this in terms of developmental exercises. You know, I had a little problem here, a little problem there. It might be because I need to pay a little more attention, and it might be a developmental aspect. And in addition, holding this belief, I've really come to think that the ruling elite and the archons and the progeny of ancestors 1 and 2, this whole collection of forces for involution, might be the thing that caused our devolution in the first place. And now when they leave, which I think they're leaving, we'll be swinging back into the ascending Dwapara. Anyway, so I hope that going through these beliefs have given you some notion as to how your beliefs shape your world. And I really want to call to your attention that the 3 beliefs that we touched on in the beginning, which is the creationist, the evolutionist, and the ancient alien beliefs, all spring from the same source. And that source is the good old ruling elites. And since I've been following and watching the elites for a long time, I know that they don't spend any money on or do anything or put anything into your head that doesn't serve their ultimate purposes. And remember, these 3, the creationists were put into your head by religions, which have always been controlled by the elites. The evolutionist story, mainline science, that's totally a fabrication of the elites. And the media's embracing of the ancient alien stories, and you know the media is totally controlled by the elites, and always has been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, also, I think it's important to consider that the whole idea of beliefs to begin with, and the holding of beliefs and the embracing, let's say, of them is a very subconscious part of our psyche. It's not something we consciously think about, and that's probably why we feel it's so important to actually think about and talk about beliefs.
Right. That's the whole purpose of the program, is to move beliefs from the realm of, yes, it's just an unconscious thing I'm not even aware of, to, yes, I'm very conscious that I believe that. First step. Second step is, do I want to believe that? How is it benefiting me and how is it hurting me? So thank you very much for joining us on The World Beyond Belief. I hope we've triggered something, maybe stimulated some thinking or about your beliefs, or maybe even encouraged you to look at your beliefs as a belief wardrobe, something that you can change at will. And maybe we can all adopt beliefs that are a little bit on a higher level.
Paul and I would like to thank you for joining us for this show and hope that you'll join us again for the next podcast. If you'd like to contact us or like more information, visit us at one of our 3 blog spots, transformationchronicles.yolasite.com, pineconeutopia.yolasite.com, and pineconeutopia.blogspot.com. We'd be honored to have you send us a note and share your thoughts with us, and we look forward to talking with you again real soon.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear from you. Feel free to turn people on to this particular podcast that could maybe position them in a little more flexible state. I'd also love your ideas for sets of beliefs to examine during subsequent podcasts. What's a belief that you see popping up all around you that you know is limiting to those around you, and you'd like them to look at it a little deeper? And what we'll do is we'll take it and we'll do some research and see if we can present it as a podcast. Also, I think that it's important in this particular venue, The World Beyond Beliefs, that we look a little bit more deeply, and this might be the next podcast, at how these beliefs are formed and what role does the ego play in this whole process. And as a last thing, I think that mankind is kind of on a real battle with the forces of involution. And I think that now more than ever, we really need to examine our beliefs and start throwing out some of the ones that are really anti-humane, I might say. So if you have ideas for those particular things, I mean, I know there are beliefs that are commonly out there that are just playing right into the hands of the ruling elite. And if we can look at those and call them like high-priced beliefs or beliefs that handle with care or something, we can also present those. Also, well, let's move on. So until next time, I guess I'm going to leave you by saying, know thyself. Try to figure out what you believe and what you don't believe. Recognize that beliefs are the things that really obscure your clearly seeing reality. So the more beliefs you have, the more foggy your lens is. So in the words of Bill Hicks, he recommends squeegeeing your third eye. He recommended it by using psychedelics. But I'm going to recommend it by letting go of as many limiting beliefs as you can and holding on to only those that are essential and definitely empowering. So
that's all for now. Great being with you. Look forward to being with you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.